Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I hope you're well, and if you are a regular viewer and you watched last week's video, notice the pink top. So this is the second one, and if you are new to my channel, please ignore that nonsense. We're just having a bit of fun. So in today's video, I would like to share with you the design process for this lovely batik blue and cream quilt. It's very, very simple. It looks quite complicated. If I move out of the way, I think you'll agree. It does look complicated, but it's actually just 3 different blocks put together in a very simple way. So if you don't mind making half square triangles, this is quite a quick quilt to put together. I think it took me 3 days. Yep, and I say it's lovely. So let me show you the design process. So I design all of my quilts on graph paper. It's very simple, and I'll put all of the information that you're about to see on my community page. So there'll be the blocks, the design and the layout, and also I'll put the construction block on there as well. So if you don't want to watch the video, you can go straight there and get all the goodies. That would be rude, but you can if you want to. Oh, and I also want to apologise for the sound quality of the recording of the design, because I was dog sitting at the time and I was in the kitchen of my son's house and it was a little bit echoey, but I think you can hear everything and see everything well enough if you want to. If you don't want to, just get over onto the community page. Well, this is the start of the blue batik quilt, and I'm just designing it. So each of the squares on this graph paper will represent 3 inches square of fabric, and the quilt I want to do is going to come together quite quickly, I hope, and it's the Antique Lace block, but it's a variation of that. And I'm thinking I'd quite like to make a quilt that's about 64 inches square. And so the first thing I've done is to mark out the boundaries of the quilt. And that means I've marked a square 26 of these small squares by 26. So at the moment, this top has finished at 65.5 inches square, 166 centimetres. I haven't yet decided what I'm going to do with the edges. I think it might be quite nice to face that quilt, but I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. And in the centre there's a 6 by 6 square, so that will be the start of the main block. And it's a really simple design. It's an all over pattern. It's a repeat pattern of this 8-pointed star, and this will form the centre of the quilt, the first block. So it's block A, and I'm just going to colour in those points now, alternate shades of blue. So that's it coloured in the centre. So when I was designing this quilt, I knew the fabric that I was going to use when I constructed it. I did have a fat quarter bundle of batik in all different shades of blue, and I thought I would probably work in a light, a mid blue and then a very deep blue. And you can see on this 8-pointed square, I think just about, there are 2 different shades of blue. It's quite subtle. In the end, I just went for the light and the darker blue. I didn't go 3 ways. I think it would look really nice 3 ways, but I just went in that design. And all across the quilt, I've used different fat quarters. In the bundle, there was only 1 each of each design. There, in this one, there was 2 that was quite similar. So I managed to get that sort of nondescript pattern throughout the whole. I did have to piece some of the blocks together in smaller pieces to get that half square triangle, but I used it throughout and I think it looks nice and fresh. So you'll hear my colour choices in this video, but you can choose whatever you like really. Be nice in a scrappy one, all different colours. It's your quilt, you can do it your way. And then on the main diagram, I've put that in the centre, and you can just see that I've put around that 6 by 6 square a double row all the way around. And now I've added 4 more 6 by 6 blocks around that, and I shall put the star inside each of those. And now I've shaded in those 4 stars, that's around the centre one. And now I need to put a double border around each of those, and it's okay to share. These are friendly neighbours, so they'll share the borders. And now I've added 4 more 6 by 6 blocks to each corner, and so I'm going to add another star into those. And now to add some colour to those 4. And there we are, that's the first step complete. Now you might be thinking that that's a simple line patch, and you're right, it is. But what I'm going to do now is to borrow some of the space that's in between to create more blocks. Now I'm moving on to block B. There's 16 of those, and that's just a little pinwheel, 2 by 2. And I've marked out their placement. And there we are, the little pinwheels are all in place. So there's just 1 more block left to make, and that is a 6 by 2 block. That's block C. So block C is a 2 by 6 block, and you'll need 18 of those. They fit around those pinwheels like that. So on the end 2 blocks, we're going to put 2 half square triangles, light blue and dark blue, and you need to make sure that they are pairing up diagonally. So bottom left is a dark blue, top right is a dark blue, so top left will be a pale blue and bottom right will be a pale blue. So there you can see that the darks are opposite diagonally and the pales are opposite diagonally. So at the moment on the graph I've just coloured in the dark, and now I'll put the paler blue in. So that's my pale blue and my mid blue. So if you decide to use lots of different colours in this quilt and it would look lovely or scrappy, you don't have to worry about aligning those points to the stars. And if you use, like I have, all one colour, it reads as a pale blue. Up close you can see there are 2 different. But if you use all one, again, you don't have to worry about aligning those points. That would make it even easier. And now I'm going to change to purple, but that will be my very darkest blue. So if we go back to block C, you can see I've added some more half square triangles, and I'll shade those in purple. They'll show up a little bit better. Block C will look like that, and that's complete now. So I've marked in the lines, and now I'm just going to add the purple. So that's block B and C complete, and now I'm going to go back into block A and do a little bit of work in there. So the first thing I want to do is to add half square triangles to the corners, and I'm going to colour those in purple. So now I'll add that feature to all of A block. So I've added those lines, and you can see now how the shape is changing. And it will change even more when I've put the purple in. And that looks like that. And now, looking back at the design of A block, that very dark blue, so it's this one here, is the corner. But if you flipped that half square triangle over, so the point was touching here in where this one meets, so you'd have like an hourglass there, then it would create more of a circular design around that block, and it would also make that 8 pointed star stand out a little bit more. So you'd lose the darkness here and it would be the opposite way round. And I think that would be effective too. So I think I do have some pink batik and I might create that again. I'm not sure, I might. And if I do, I might flip that one around. I think that would be quite interesting to see how that one turns out. Just a thought. It's your quilt. So now I'm going to go back into block A and add a little bit more. I think it's already looking quite lacy. So I think at that stage it made a nice looking quilt. It was very nice and light and airy. And you didn't need to go back and add any more necessarily. So if you wanted something that was more open, or perhaps you used a fabric that you wanted to really be impactful, maybe stop there. It's up to you again. So now I'm adding 4 triangles to 4 of the points, and I've marked that onto the grid. And so I've added a different shade of purple just to make that stand out, and it looks like that. And there's just one more thing to do now in block A, and that's to add those half square triangles. So there are the lines, and I'll colour those purple. So that block is complete now and it looks like that. So I'll add that to the quilt. As I mentioned earlier, I didn't have a lot of material in the same fabric design, and so I used in that last piece this little floral and white, and I use that in all of the blocks in the whole of the quilt. So there's little elements that I've used repeatedly just to sort of tie it in a little bit. I think it's restful on the eye, but you don't have to, obviously, if you haven't got it, or you could use it all the same if you have got it. But yeah, I think that worked out. So in that floral, the centre square is all that blue, and then that floral is on all of the other A blocks. Okay. Again, these little details that only I notice. We're not talking about details, are we? Or PPPs anymore. And we'll have a look at the finished design. And that's it complete. So this is block A, and you can just make up, working in reverse, there we go. That's the corner, and it goes straight across, 6 blocks, and then down 6 blocks, and then opposite way, around there and up. So that's block A, and then the other blocks around that, across, working in reverse, it's very difficult. That's just created by the little cornerstone of this pinwheel and the sashing. So this secondary block is formed by that. So there's just the 3 blocks in this quilt. So it's quite a simple design. There are 3 blocks. I think it'll look effective in blue and cream. So I'll start cutting fabric. So if you do have any questions about my design process, or if you would like me to design anything in particular, please put something in the comments. I do answer all of my comments. There was something I just wanted to mention about that. I always go into my laptop to reply to comments. Sometimes if you're replying to a reply, and sometimes that happens when we have a little conversation going, it doesn't always show up on the laptop. I get new comments as they're created new, but a reply to a reply is seen as an old comment and it's not flagged to me. So I do go through them all, and if I've missed anyone's, I am sorry. It's not purposeful. I will always answer if I can. And while I'm away, I will also try and answer. We'll see how that goes, but if I don't answer immediately, when I come back to the UK, I will definitely answer. So that's it for this week. this session. I changed location, did you notice? Now I'm going to go and change my top again. So if you're still with me, thank you very much for your company, and in my next video for next week you'll see a new top and you'll see me make this quilt. Okay, take really good care of yourselves and I'll see you again soon. Bye.